All right. What's poppin', everybody? It's your boy Armon, and we're back with another video. Get in here. Get in here. Everybody get in here. We got to get into some things. All right. So, YouTuber by the name of Justin J, a.k.a. King of Rings, is going viral today for some comments that he made in regard to his health status and how he likes to, perform in bed and get things like that done. Intercourse, okay? Or sexual health and things like that. So a lot of people are kind of like not feeling them. I would say 80% of the people are not feeling them. 20% of people are kind of like, well, they're kind of a little bit more understanding to what he's saying, and they're a little bit on his side. Okay, so I want you guys to take a listen to what he had to say, and I'm going to give you guys my thoughts on this whole debacle. Okay, so we're just going to get right into it. Let me play this audio from him. Actually, we'll do it this way, just in case, we have some issues. All right, so I'm gonna play you what he said.
I have been having really, really bad allergies, and I wanted to go to the doctor. I went to the VA, and I sat at the doctor, and I was waiting on them, to see me. And I saw the nurse. So the nurse is asking me these questions, and she's just like, hey, what's going on? I said, hey, I've been having a sore throat for about a week, and my allergies have been really, really bothering. I've been doing some research, and I know it sounds like it's post-nasal drip. Like, I have really bad allergies. I went there, and, the nurse is asking the questions. She's just like, da-da-da-da-da. I'm telling her the things, and then she says, well, have you been having unprotected sex? And I'm thinking to myself,
she's asking questions. She's telling them the things, which means she's asking questions about your lifestyle, what you do, and you're telling her the things about that you're positive and all of these things. That you're not saying that, but that's what she's asking you. And then she asked you what?
Protected sex, and I'm thinking to myself.
She asked you, were you having unprotected blank?
Like, what if she means unprotected sex? I'm like, I get so shook by the language because it's so outdated.
And I want you guys to hold on to that right there. That is the problem for me with him particularly. All of a sudden now, a doctor asking you if you're having unprotected sex is now an outdated way of thinking. That is crazy. That is crazy. We're going to get into that, but I want you to hold that thought. He's literally saying the doctor now has an outdated way of thinking.
So outdated. What the is unprotected sex? Let me tell you something. Let me zoom the camera right on in. This is probably not going to be zooming. If I'm sucking dick, 9 times out of 10, there's no condom on it. If I'm eating ass, 9 times out of 10, there's no dental dam on it. If I'm getting my sucked, it ain't going to have no condom on it. If I'm topping, there ain't going to probably be no condom. If I'm bottoming, which rarely ever happens, if it does.
Him bottoming is crazy. Him being with a man, him being with anybody is crazy, but that's not what this video
does happen. Probably not going to use a condom, and I'm okay with that. I am HIV positive, and I am entitled to condomless sex. I have been having.
Okay, and that's what he said. And so that has people in an uproar on social media. Okay, now here's what I want to start off by saying. This is nothing against anybody that is living with HIV or anything like that, because I'm a part of the community and I know a lot of people, close friends of mine, that live with it. I'm sure I've slept with people that had it. I've dated a person that had HIV. So that's not the problem here. Your HIV health status is not necessarily the problem. Okay, I know there's many people that have HIV, and many people are very undetectable and living very healthy lives. So that's not necessarily the problem. You have HIV, like in that sense, right? So I want to start there. And also the problem is not you wanting to, have condomless intercourse. That is your right. That is your choice to do so. We've all done it. We've all been there at some point. It happens. The problem with me for him in particular, and I see people online saying that, he reveals his status now and he's undetectable, all of these things. In that clip, well, let me go back. the problem for me, for him, I've seen some of his content before. So no one's going to gaslight me and say that I've cropped and edited this. This is not that. I've seen this man's content before, and the man has been very clear and open about the fact that, you know, he does not tell everybody, and he reserves that right not to tell everybody. And if he doesn't want to tell you, it's your responsibility. While I understand that, because that is true, though, it is still, it takes two to tango. It is your responsibility to ask. However, I think it's very dangerous when maybe someone isn't as responsible or isn't responsible enough to ask because maybe they're in the heat of the moment, maybe they're just ignorant, maybe it's a drunk night, or maybe they're just not responsible enough to ask. But you knowing what you carry, and you're going to insert yourself into a human being for your own selfish good because you like to have condomless intercourse. So but you know that you carry a virus that is highly contagious, and will change someone's life forever. And you knowing that because it has happened to you, even if the person doesn't ask, but you know that you are a carrier, you are going to then insert yourself in them and say, well, they didn't ask me. That's dangerous. That's very dangerous. That's very dangerous. And to me, I feel like that's what he does. Okay? And that's the problem with me. I feel like this person literally tries to make everything like a phobia, or everything is so, non-progressive if you don't align with his core values or his thought processes. You know what I mean? And so I think that is what we're discussing here. What my main conversation piece is, we are not going to normalize having unprotected sex with HIV positive people just because it makes you feel better. Okay? Like, people do it all the time. People are going to continue to do it. People are going to continue to do what they want to do. But you, sir, have a responsibility to let people know what your status is. You do. Whether they asked or not, I think it's a responsibility for you to know, especially when you know you could change someone's life. Because everybody may not be equipped. Everybody may not be knowledgeable. Hell, you have gotten it. You got it somewhere. Did you ask? Maybe if you would have asked, maybe something would have been different. But maybe you didn't think to ask. But who's to say that person didn't know and they changed your life forever? Now, it'd be different if we just outside, I'm reckless, I'm sleeping around with a bunch of people, and the person that I got it from, they didn't know, I didn't know. It just we never got tested. No one knew. That's one thing. Things happen. You got to wrap it up. It's on both ends. You're outside doing what you want to do. Hey, it is what it is. But coming from a man that knows exactly what it is, you're still willing to sleep with people unprotected because that is your right. And see, it's that is my right for me, because some people will say, well, that is his right, Armon. He's not wrong in that. The issue becomes from this specific person. I'm talking about Justin J specifically. Watching his content, everything seems to be a problem if you don't align with his way of thinking, especially when he creates these narratives for, these boxes that he wants people to fit in. From the beginning of this video, this man said the doctor asking him, does he have unprotected sex, was an outdated terminology, an outdated way of thinking. Since when did asking somebody if they're having unprotected sex from the doctor become this progressive or non-progressive, new age or closed-minded way of thinking? You know what I mean? It's just very clear. You're coming in here, you're coughing, you're sniffling, you have underlying health issues. Are you sleeping with people unprotected? Because it's not just about the HIV. It's about everything else that you can get that adds to your compromised immune system. See, you don't die from HIV and AIDS. That just breaks down your immune system. So any other virus that comes inside, your body is unable to fight it off. And that's inevitably how you end up perishing. So for this man to try to make it seem like the doctor was just out of line or out of pocket for asking that, like he was offended, that is what triggers me. And then to try to gaslight me into, or gaslight the people into say, that is my right. As an HIV positive person, that is my right. As if somebody said, no, that's not your right. Then he would be saying, well, you're HIV phobic. Oh, you don't like me because I have HIV? No. You're HIV negative phobic. You want everybody to think like you think. It's not, that should not be your right to run around here sleeping with people knowing that you have this. And because you feel selfishly about it. And if people don't ask, you won't tell. And so you're just going to sleep around. Well, then what is the point of even going to the doctor if you don't want to be asked no questions? Just get sick and get over it. Because the doctor is going to ask you questions. Now, going back to my thing. He has like this idea where like he tries to have like this new age progressive type of like thought process. Like everybody has to align with these weird things that people want to do. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just over everybody trying to normalize weirdness in 2020 and 2023 and all of this stuff and trying to make everybody else feel crazy. No, sleeping with people, knowing that you have HIV and can pass it is not going to be the new normal. We're not going to be running around sleeping with dogs and cats and kids and kissing babies in the mouth. It's not going to be normal, okay? Everybody is not a they, it, that, or that's not, no. People are he, she, whatever. Like, it's getting to a point where, no, we're not going to make it normalize everything because you want to fit into a certain box or you feel some type of way about the way your life is panning out, or you want to do some reckless bullshit. And all of a sudden, we, the people, are not progressive. We, the people, have outdated thinking. We, the people, are some sort of phobic because you want to be on some bullshit. No, nigga, that's not what it's given. And the thing is, you have to call this stuff out now because people like this, then it'll be, first, you can't even ask if he's having unprotected sex. Then, could you imagine sleeping with him, and then you, the person, say, "Hey, what's your HIV status? Are you willing to disclose that, or do you have HIV? Or you saw?" Then it's all of a sudden, don't ask me what my status is. This man will be the type of person in 6 months from a year now doing a video where he's telling people that asking him about his status is a breach of his confidentiality. It's some sort of phobia. It's some type of breach against his human right. We shouldn't be asking people what their status is anymore. We should just be taking it into our own hands and protecting ourselves and giving people their privacy. Meanwhile, we're about to engage in a whole nasty session. I can hear it now coming out of his mouth. Don't ask me what my status is. Just worry about yourself. But then how do I do that when you only want to have unprotected sex? You know what I'm saying? So that is the problem. I think he's extremely dangerous. And I think this is predatory behavior. You also have to understand, you have to also consider this man's landscape. This man is now an atheist. Well, my thoughts when it comes to atheists, I believe anybody that becomes an atheist is traumatized and they're mad at God, and that's their way of punishing the church and God because they feel like something has happened to them in their life so detrimental that they feel like if God was real, why would God let that happen to them? And I feel like the only way that they can punish God or punish the church is to say, I'm an atheist. Well, I believe he became an atheist once he got his blood test back. I believe that. I don't know if it's true, but I believe that's when the atheist came. So I believe that he's still very bitter about his health status. He masks it like he's confident in it. But I think he's very bitter and very angry. Very, very, very angry man. However, you don't take that out on the general public or your partners because you made a mistake. Unfortunately, mistakes happen. We live, we learn, we grow. But you now have a responsibility as a human, just a good human being, especially with a platform, to try to save someone else that you're having intercourse with, because I'm sure you would have liked that person that infected you to give you that same kind of courtesy and grace, or you wouldn't be so bitter. You know what I mean? And so when I see stuff like this, I think that the community needs to be aware. Now, we have OnlyFans culture. We have, all of that where nobody uses condoms these days because everybody feels like PrEP is the new condom. Well, that does not protect you against other situations, okay? It doesn't. But again, those are people's rights. You do what you want to do. And I know people are saying, well, if you're undetectable, you can't pass it. This is true. This is true to a certain degree. But at the same time, you having the virus in any landscape is still a risk to other people. Okay? Being undetectable is not 100% true. Even being on PrEP is not 100% accurate. So my thing is, for those 1%, they should still have the right to make that decision or not, if they want to sleep with you or not. Now, do most people go and tell? No. Do most people go and ask? No. However, this is the problem. People should start asking more, but the people that are knowingly infected, because the way that he said it was just like, I got AIDS, I'm HIV positive, and I should still be able to have raw sex. It didn't come across like, hey, I'm HIV positive and undetectable, and I still like to practice, raw intercourse. No, it was just like, I got it, and I still like unprotected sex. And that is my right. It's just like, yeah, okay, that is your right, but that's still very dangerous. Because you know that is contagious. And it is a life-altering virus. Whether it's manageable or not, it's still irresponsible for you with a platform to say it with your chest like that, almost as a way for other people to start saying, yeah, me too. I'm HIV positive, yeah, and I want to have raw sex with everybody. And then to make it seem like there's an outdated thought process when people ask you about having unprotected sex when you're positive. That's not outdated. People are really want to know. So if you're positive, are you still having raw sex with people? Because you're in this office coughing and choking. Nigga, maybe you should start wrapping it up if you don't like the questions that I'm asking you. And so, I don't know. I just feel like it's really irresponsible knowing that you have something, whether a person asks or doesn't ask, you know what you got. And you know that you have the potential to infect somebody. And I just think that that's very dangerous. And I think that that's very selfish. Is it going to change? Probably not. But this is why on the other side, people really need to start asking questions, because there are more people out here like him than there are not. Most people don't care. Why would they care about you? You're just a hookup. Their life is altered. They don't give a shit. You're not asking, so you don't seem to care. They have nothing to lose at this point. So this should be a wake-up call for people, understanding that people are not going to care about you, and they're going to know their situation. And for their own selfish rights and their own selfish game, they will change your life. And you'll gag. Because people don't care to let you know. Because they still want to get what they want out of the deal. And that's the moral of the story for me. Also, he talked about this is what makes it even more disgusting. He talked about, you know, him being a top most of the time. Well, if you know anything about it, you being a top, it's more likely for you to receive or contract the virus if you're a bottom from a top versus a bottom to a top. If you think about it, if I'm the top, I'm going all the way inside you, releasing whatever I'm releasing in and out, pre or full, all the way there. If I'm the bottom and I have it, I'm covering you, but there's just a smaller, it still can happen. But that little indent, that slit is much harder to infect than this entering all the way inside of you. There's no protection there. So on top of this, you being a carrier with this, you're also saying that you're more of a top. So you're inserting yourself with this virus, knowingly that you have it in other people. And sometimes you disclose it, sometimes you don't. Because he said that. Well, if he's just having a random hookup, why does he disclose it? Well, I get that. I get that. I even get that but I get that even more so if you're using protection. But the way that this video came across, he's not even using protection and not disclosing on a random hookup. So my thing is, you should be disclosing if you're having raw sex. I almost get not disclosing if you're using condoms and it's a one night. But to be going in raw and still not disclosing, whether it's one night or consistency, is crazy. And the thing is, too, from what I've learned, and I don't know if this has changed, but in the past, you know, it wasn't really the one night stands that really were the biggest influx of like HIV cases. It was more so the consistent partner, because what ends up happening is, you know, you become trusting with that person and you love that person. And enough people are not having many conversations. They just feel like, you love me, I love you. We've been doing this consistently. I trust you. So then the condom comes off. But there was no previous conversations had. And so, boom, that's when the infection comes. So I just think it's very important, if you have consistent partners, get tested every 3 months. And then if you guys are in a supposed to be in a committed relationship, get tested once a year, because you still never know what your partner is doing or what you may do. So getting tested regularly with your partner is important. And have those conversations. And there's nothing wrong with those conversations. And there's nothing outdated about those conversations. And anybody that makes you feel like you can't have those conversations is not a person that you want to be in your life. So I just think everybody should take their sexual health into consideration. It doesn't matter whether you're HIV positive, negative, whatever. Have those conversations. And if you guys are going to be on one night stands, things like that, if you decide that you want to, you know, risk it and have unprotected sex, that's on you. But just know that there's people out there that know they are carriers and they're not going to tell you. Or two, have those conversations. And sometimes people still won't tell you. So protect yourself to the best way that you can. And PrEP does not protect you against everything. Okay? Because you have people out here that are trying to normalize carrying life-changing viruses and still being able to sleep with other people without protection. There's more people out here that think like him that don't. So protect yourself, because if you don't, nobody else will. Okay? So that's my thoughts on that. And I'm going to want you guys think about that in the comments, okay? And then for the people saying that this was very irresponsible for me to put this out and talk about this, first of all, it's irresponsible for a gay man with a platform to get online and try to normalize such behavior because this is what you see people doing. No, it's not normal. It's not ever going to be okay. to potentially be putting other people's lives at risk. If people decide to do that, that's on their own. But that's not going to be a normalized thing. That's not going to be an okay thing to do in anybody's eyes. Whether you do it or not, it does not need to be normalized. What needs to be normalized is be protective. Have protection. That needs to be cool. That needs to be the turn on. We need to change the narrative from, having raw sex and that's the cool way, that's the fun way, because that's what's indoctrinated in our minds. That's cool and that's fun and sex is better. But why not change the conversation to make it more like, well, listen, let's still keep it like as safe as can be. I get people are going to do their thing, but let's not try to eradicate safe sex. Do you? But for those who want to choose safe sex, let them know that is still an option. And it's still a very viable option. And they should choose that option. If they don't, it's fine, but the option is there. We're not going to just take away the option of protection. And I feel like you have to watch individuals like this, because what they try to do is seed in your mind and eliminate the option of protection because they themselves feel compromised. Now, with that, my friends, I will let you go, and you let me know what you guys think in the comments. And until next time, make sure you keep that same energy, protect yourself, and I'll see you soon. Peace out.